Hello, and welcome to the New Markets Tax Credit Electronic Application webinar. My name is Adrian Russell, and I'm a Policy and Program Officer with the New Markets Tax Credit Program team. I'm joined by my colleague, Joan Reed-Patrick, who's also a Policy and Program Officer with our team. We will guide you through this instructional webinar, which is designed to illustrate the operational functionality of the New Markets application within AMIS. To get started, let's begin by reviewing the steps you should take to access AMIS. To start an application within AMIS, you'll need to go to amis.cdfifund.gov and select the Login tab at the top of the page to log on to the system with your AMIS username and password. Once you're on the AMIS homepage, select the Organizations tab. If this is blank, select Go on the home page and your organization should appear. On the organization's home page, select your organization. On the organization detail page, scroll down to the Program Profiles related list. Select the program profile for your NMTC application. On the NMTC Program Profile Detail page, scroll down to the Applications Related list and click on Apply for NMTC Allocation button to start a new NMTC application. If you've already started an NMTC application, this button will take you straight into your active application. The application should now be launched. It may take a few moments for your application to open, but once you create the application, it will be listed in the Applications Related list. You can exit the application at any time and return to it as needed. Regain access by navigating back to the NMTC Program Profile Detail page as described in the previous steps and click on the application ID number. All users that have access to AMIS and are a valid contact within your organization will have the ability to edit your NMTC application. Additionally, if your organization applied under a prior round, you may access these applications via My CDFI Fund. To do this, go back to the AMIS portal, select the App Launcher tab, and then select My CDFI Fund. I will note that if you applied in the 2018 round, your AMIS application will be visible within the Applications Related tab within your program profile. Now we'll move on to learning about the user interface of the NMTC application once you've opened it in AMIS. Understanding the user interface. Upon logging into the application, you will land on the Application User Interface homepage. From this point forward, we will refer to the user interface as the UI. The UI has a stationary header at the top of the page that displays important application details. The header includes the control number, the system-generated number assigned to your application, the due date, the date and time when the application must be submitted. Applicants should note that their submission time will be keyed to Eastern Time. For example, if you are in a Pacific time zone, your deadline will appear as 2 p.m. instead of 5 p.m. Remaining time. A countdown feature that displays how much time is left to work on the application before the application deadline. After the deadline is passed, you will no longer be able to submit the application. And the progress bar. A visual gauge that keeps track of your progress as you complete portions of the application. Above the application headers, there are a few helpful links that can help you access resources external to the application. Organization. This is the hyperlink to your organization's detail page. When you click this link, you will return to your organization record in a new window. View PDF. This is an option to export and view the application in a PDF file. The PDF prints the current state of the application. If blank, it will show application guidance, questions, and tables. Once responses are entered and saved into the application, the PDF will show those responses. User, the name of the user profile currently editing the application. And Exit. Use this button to exit the application after saving your work. If you exit the application before submitting or saving, you may lose any of the progress made since your last save. Using the collapsible menu. Now we're going to take a look at how to utilize the collapsible menu. The menu on the left-hand side of the page will allow you to navigate to different sections of the application. Click on the section title in the menu, for example, the applicant information portion of the menu, to expand and view the subsections. This will display links to the subsections below the section title in the menu bar. Clicking on a section title will bring up a section introduction page in the interface to the right of the menu. This page will describe the section and include any important details, tips, and instructions the user may need before proceeding to the subsections. To view a subsection, such as Question 1 or Question 2, click on the hyperlink to the subsection title in the menu bar. The page for the subsection, including the application question and response fields, will be visible in the UI display to the right of the menu. Note that the bar at the top of the display lists the name of the section and the subsection currently displayed. If you are finished viewing an application section and would like to minimize the list of subsections, simply click on the section title link in the menu again. Time management. Here's a quick note on time management when completing the electronic application. You may save data, log out, and return to the application at a later date. The electronic application will automatically log off after 2 hours of inactivity. For example, if you have no movement between your screens. If this happens, you will lose any data that was entered and was not saved. Therefore, you should save early and often. Now, let's examine the glossary of terms. The glossary of terms is available in the NMTC application at the bottom of the left-hand menu bar. Please note that words that are italicized within the application are defined glossary terms. And that's it for the glossary. Now let's dive into the application. The first item on the menu is the application instructions. This contains a table of the important application deadlines and contact information. Please be sure that you review this table in detail. Additionally, be sure to review the contact info in the table below as well. If you experience any technical issues while completing the electronic application, I can't emphasize enough how important it is that you submit an AMIS service request. In your service request entry, set the record type to General Inquiry and the type to NMTC AMIS Technical Problem. Use of AMIS service request is the best method to submit and track your request. The next item on the menu is a page containing the application materials. Click on each of the links to access PDFs of the resources listed below. As you'll see on the next subpage in this section, Confirmation of Application Materials, you'll need to certify that you've reviewed the provided resources. Next, we will review a few basic features of the AMIS application questions. And can we just select blank for this one here? Okay, cool. If you select Save without making an answer selection, you will see a validation prompt that instructs you that your response has been saved, but that you'll need to answer the question. You'll notice that all the required questions in the electronic application have a red asterisk at the end of the question. You won't be able to complete your application without completing this question and questions like it. You'll also notice that you can engage bookmarks for each question in this application. If you select the Bookmark subsection checkbox on the right side, a bookmark will appear next to the active question, denoted in bold on the left side menu. If you deselect this box, the red bookmark on the left side menu will disappear. Also for this question, if you select No as an answer choice, you will not be allowed to submit your application. If you select Yes and save, the validation error should disappear and you'll be able to proceed with your application. You will receive a completion message above the question, and you'll also see a green check mark on the left side menu. Click on the Need Help link at the bottom left side of the page to access the electronic instructions, and click on the Print Page link on the bottom right part of the page to generate a PDF of the subsection for printing. NMTC application and instructions for specific questions. Now we're going to start with the application information section to examine the different types of question types and section types that you'll encounter throughout the application. Just to note, the assurances and certifications section only contains a few of the question types we'll cover today. So to cover more of the question formats, we'll skip this section. The next few questions we'll examine will cover some of the questions in input fields, such as the basic entry and the selection questions, like simple data, text, and yes, no types of questions. We'll start with question 1. Here we see we have a simple numerical entry field. Only numerical values are allowed in this field. Alphabetic characters or decimal points are not allowed. Moving on to question 2, we'll now see pre-populated data fields, pick lists, and multiple selection fields. Questions 2A and 2B are pre-populated data fields, which are directly pulled from an applicant's organization detail page in AMIS. If you need to modify your employer identification number, please file a service request. Also, please refer to the AMIS instructional manual for additional details. Question 2C features a pick list. Once you click the down arrow in the selection field, you'll need to select the correct option for your organization. Question 2C also features a multi-selection field. Hold the control button and click to select one or more entries in this field, or select none of the above if none of these selections apply. Moving on to question 5A, applicant contact information. Here, you'll be asked to select from a drop-down menu the individuals from your organization that you would like identified as the applicant authorized representative, the controlling entity representative, if applicable, the application contact person for this application, and the public contact person. Once you select their name from the drop-down search, their information will be auto-populated. If any of this contact information needs to be edited, the contact must log into their AMIS account and edit their own information. The updates to the contact info will appear once you log back into the application, and click Save to preserve your edits. Okay. Now we'll take a look at the text box fields and character limits with question 11. So text boxes are used to collect narrative responses to the application. In the text box fields, you can enter any kind of text up to the limits specified in the bottom right corner of the field. These limits can range from 10 characters to 10,000 characters. Once you've completed your edits, click on the Save button to save your narrative. Now we'll examine some dependent questions and subsections. Your answers to specific questions may trigger other questions or subsections to appear or disappear. let's examine in the Business Strategy section, question 13B, Table, Cue the Key Uses and Activities. What we have here is a simple percentages table. So if you enter a 0 value in question 13B2 and click the Save button, it should cause question 14C to disappear. However, unless the total bar amounts to 100%, you won't be able to complete this question. Therefore, once we make the correction and have all the values amount to 100% and save, and we can now see that question 14C disappears. This behavior with respect to visibility is similar in question 19, the track record. Initially, when you start your application, tables B1 through B3 will not be visible. However, a yes selection in question 19 to the questions connected to one of the tables B1 or B3 will trigger them to appear in Exhibit B. And if we take a look back down at Exhibit B, I'll scroll back down a little bit more. Yes, we can see that B1 is now visible in addition to B4. So the last, for my portion, the last part that I'll cover is identifying affiliates in AMIS, related to questions 41 and 42, which is part of Part 5 of the application. So if we just click on question 41. And, okay. So for questions 41 and 42 of the New Markets application, applicants will need to ensure that affiliates are properly identified in their org profile so that past CDFI awards and New Market allocations appear in these sections. To add an affiliate, navigate to the org profile within the affiliates section and add a new affiliate. In order to do so, you'll need both the name and the employer identification number to properly identify this party. And now I'll hand this presentation over to my colleague, Joan Reed-Patrick.
Thank you, Adrian. Okay, so we'll continue with question 28, located in Part 3 of the Management Capacity section, to view the functionality of the drag and drop feature. Question 28 allows the user to submit their organizational charts using a drag and drop method. The drag and drop function appears below any question that requires an attachment. To upload using the drag and drop function, you'll need to first locate the file on your computer you wish to upload by using the File Explorer. Next, return to the application page and use your cursor to drag the file you want to upload from your computer to the drag and drop upload box on the application. So once your file is successfully uploaded, the file name will be displayed below the drag and drop box. Please note that you can upload additional files using the same process. If you need to remove an uploaded file, simply click the gray X next to the file name. Next, we'll provide instructions for completing the tables in the Exhibit section of the application. The first table we'll demo is Table A1. Table A1 is a direct entry table, which is already laid out on the page, and the user can directly enter data into each table field. Please note that users do not have the option to download the direct entry table into Excel. The columns in the table were pre-filled for this demo. You will enter the number of transactions to be financed in row 1, and row 2 auto-calculates the totals for rows 3 and 4. For row 5, you'll provide the number of reinvestment transactions. Row 6 auto-calculates the totals for rows 7 and 8, just as explained above for row 2. The total for each row is calculated and displayed in the total column at the end of each row. So after all the applicable fields have been populated, remember to click the Save button. So we'll now move on to Table A5. Table A5 is a dynamic record entry table, which means you can add as many records as needed to list all your proposed transactions. The user also has the option to download the table into Excel format. The columns in this table were also pre-filled for this demo. The first field is the record number field. This is not a required field. However, it helps in getting a count. Next, you will enter the business name and description, followed by the city and state, and the next field is the census tract field. For question D, you will be required to select a response for a non-metropolitan county. And for the projected close date, you'll select the year from the drop-down list. You will next provide responses for fields F through I. For fields J through K, you'll select your response from the drop-down list. For field L, you'll select the applicable responses by holding down the Control key. And the same functionality applies to fields M and N. And once completed, you'll hit the Save button. The remaining tables in the application, Exhibits B through E, are either dynamic or direct entry tables. And additional guidance on how to complete these tables can be found in the AMIS application manual. However, we'll provide a list of things to keep in mind when completing these tables. When completing Exhibit B, please note that tables B1 through B3 are dependent on your answer to question 19. Also, depending on your response to question 3, either applicant or control entity will be displayed on the applicable tables. If you need to change the entity that appears on the table, you must do so in question 3. Exhibit D, which is Asset Management Table. For Table D1, you may check Not Applicable if the applicant does not have a portfolio of operating businesses, loans, and equity investments. You can also select Not Applicable if the applicant does not have a portfolio of real estate loans and equity investments. However, you must still complete the table by filling in 0 in all the fields and save the page. Please note that additional guidance are located in the AMIS application manual. For Exhibit E, for Table E1, you'll notice that the first 2 rows, row 1 and 2, are grayed out. Row 1 sums up rows 3, 5, 7, and 9, and row 2 sums up rows 4, 6, 8, and 10. Please note the required investor letters that accompany Table E3 cannot be uploaded on the table subsection page. Investor letters or any other documentation can be uploaded in the table's corresponding subsection, which is question 36E. So next, we will provide instructions on how to sign and attach the controlling entity signature page. As noted in the instructions on the top of the page, if you answer yes to question 3, then the controlling entity signature page should be visible. If you answer no, the page will not be visible. So now let's click on the controlling entity certification subsection. First, you'll notice that the instructions on how to print, sign, and upload the page are at the top of the screen. Also, the first 4 rows are pre-populated. So for this section, you'll need to hit the print page link at the bottom right of the page. A PDF version will generate in a new page. From there, you'll need to follow the manual entry instructions in the parentheses. Once the document is signed and completed, you'll need to scan and upload the document to your computer. Then you can attach the signed signature page using the drag and drop method. So next, we'll hit save to move on to the next page. So next, we'll demo how to submit your application. Now that you have attached your signature page, you'll need to click on the checkbox to indicate your electronic signature, which will generate a time and date stamp next to your name. And next, you would hit the Submit button to complete and submit your application. After submission, you will receive an email with your name, the attestation date, and a brief confirmation prompt. This indicates that your new market tax credit application has been submitted and received by the CDFI fund. Before closing this demo, one final note to keep in mind when submitting your service request. AMIS allows the user to select the department for which the service request applies. If the user is having difficulty or having technical difficulties with the application, the user should route the service request to the IT department. Program issues relating to application guidance should be routed to the New Market Tax Credit Program Office. So this concludes the New Market Tax Credit AMIS application demonstration. Thank you. Operator?
Thank you.
You're welcome.